Welcome, Emporia. We've got a great day on tap. Sunny skies, light wind, greeting the riders out here on their 200-mile adventure.
UNBOUND Gravel is lightning in a bottle. It's really hard to describe it to someone who hasn't experienced it. But it is all encapsulated in what is Emporia, Kansas.
Here in Emporia, man, there's no such thing as a plateau. It continues to get better every single year.
There are now world-class athletes that have Emporia, Kansas pinned on a map.
Just this fun gravitational force of community.
There's nothing like UNBOUND Gravel. You can just feel the energy lift in the whole town.
We call ourselves the gravel capital of the world.
Attracting riders from all over wanting to get their shot.
This huge party on bikes where you've got people from all over the world showing up in one spot to go test their mettle on some of the best gravel in the world.
I think it's the most important gravel race. It has a lot of prestige. Once you win UNBOUND, you can ride that wave for a long time.
This is as exciting as bike racing gets.
Being on the top step is transformative for careers. You can take any number of riders that have quit their day job after winning UNBOUND and become professional cyclists.
You are off and running. UNBOUND Gravel officially underway.
I don't think there's any way anybody could have expected it to be as big as it is today. My name is Dan Hughes. I was one of the original 34 in 2006 and one of the 15 finishers that year. I've stood on the top of the podium 5 times over that period, 4 times as the overall winner.
This is like my Bruce Springsteen glory days place down here. That also happens to be our 3rd bathroom, so.
Riding 200 miles of gravel. I know the first time I started this race, I was like, I don't even know if I can ride 200 miles on gravel. And I think that resonates with a lot of people.
You know, I started riding bikes in high school, and I picked up a camera at about that same time. So taking pictures and riding bikes have been kind of in tandem for me, really my entire adult life. Now that my competitive fires have waned a little bit and people are going way faster than I ever could have, for me to meld those 2 passions into one thing, bikes and cameras and telling stories, super huge. Also means that I get to be here for what we're shooting this week, which is UNBOUND Gravel Training Camp. It's super cool because it brings together veteran riders, but also people who just bought a gravel bike last week. There's no better place to be.
There's no way to have understood in 2006 when 34 of us lined up in a parking lot on the northwest side of town that this would become what it has become. It's hugely humbling to be part of that.
Nice work, guys.
More than anything, it's having pedaled it, and pedaled it at a pace that you can take a look around every once in a while. Because even when I'm riding my bike, I'm always thinking, well, boy, that would be a cool shot, and turning around and trying to figure out where the angle would be. So, yeah, it's like shooting pictures in your own home portrait studio, but it's out on the gravel of the Flint Hills. Kansas is often viewed as flyover country, but when they get here, they are literally and figuratively blown away.
It's easy to get lost out here. It's in a really expansive and stunning place. A lot of people have the perception that Kansas is flat. That is not true. This is a really rolly landscape. Over time, those rollers take a toll. The Flint Hills just chew up rubber out here.
It is proper tough. This is not a gimme in terms of the event. You are going to be empty when you come across that finishing line.
Kansas weather is not kind. On a good day, it can change on a dime. You start out, it's freezing cold, and it gets super hot, 100+ degree temperatures, maybe a tornado or 2. To go out there on a bike, 200 miles, I thought people were crazy.
In 2005, we were doing our annual 100-mile gravel ride around Lawrence. Word had reached us that some crazy folks down in Emporia were going to do a 200-mile version.
A lot of people see 200 miles and all these crazy stories, and it is just that perfect distance where people go, can I do that?
I mistakenly opened my big mouth and said, I'm going to sign up for that. And then I was locked in. I had to come and do it.
I continue to call it Unbound, even when I think about those early years when they were originally called DK or Dirty Kansas.
The very first DK, my husband needed to start getting into doing something active, and he found cycling.
When they started the race in 2006, I'd been riding bikes for a couple years. I was friends with Jim and Joel, who started it.
They had gone to Iowa and partaken in Trans Iowa, which was the big gravel event of the time. They both had experience in the Flint Hills and knew that there were some amazing roads around here.
Around here, gravel is what we do. There's not a lot of pavement, and the pavement that we have is well-traveled.
Back then, if you were going to ride gravel, you were just kind of poking down some roads and hoping something connects. Like, you were just figuring it out on the fly. And same thing for the races.
There was no crowds, there was no big finish line. You left from a hotel parking lot, you returned to a hotel parking lot.
We rode out of town. We didn't know what to expect. Within 10, 15 miles, Garth Prosser and I, Garth, who is a legend in off-roading circles, he and I were off the front, just he and I riding together.
Back then, it was all about the challenge. Can you do this crazy thing without really even training for it?
I've always kind of felt that 90% of the field is there to complete it and survive, and then 10% is there to compete. In that first year where there was just 34 of us, there were really only probably 3.4 of us that were racing. It was me and Garth Prosser and 1.4 other people, I guess.
My expectations were pretty low. I hadn't been riding very long. I just wanted to see what I could do.
In those days, it was much more of a choose-your-own-adventure sort of escapade. Between the map that they would highlight for you where you were going to go and the cue sheets, you were kind of able to navigate throughout all 200 miles.
Most people would mount a cue sheet holder on their handlebars. It's just a little flip folder with a rubber band.
It really was a race from checkpoint to checkpoint. I had planned to meet my crew at Cottonwood Falls at about 100 miles. It was going to be a luxurious stop. I was going to change clothes, treat it as 200-mile efforts. We rolled in there, and Garth was pretty adamant. He was like, I don't want to wait around for third place. We're turning and burning this in 5 minutes. So I shot a smear of chamois butter in my hand, shoved it down the front of my shorts, and we were in and out of there in less than 3 minutes.
I think I made it 170 miles. When I bailed, I was on a Salsa Dos Niner, a mountain bike.
It was probably unfair. Garth Prosser was riding a mountain bike, and I showed up on a Brent Steelman bike out of California. It was an interesting time because it was kind of the Wild West. Nobody made a custom-made gravel bike at that point. We were cobbling together stuff from wherever we could get it.
As soon as Dan won on a cross bike, everyone started switching to cross bikes.
Each one of those years, it was a war of attrition.
Did you get the tailwind?
In 2009, my first attempt, they had capped it at 100 people. I think there were 85 starters. 30 people made it to the 145-mile checkpoint, and only 15 finished. I was just hanging on Dan Hughes' wheel, and I was like, probably shouldn't be up here because I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Ended up getting some pretty good heat exhaustion. That ended up being the end of my day.
Every year, other than one, I finished alone. It just wears you down. People just end up going their own pace. After year 4, I was pretty much done with DK. I'd been first, second, and didn't finish the 4th one. It didn't hold that magic for me until Christy Moan entered the picture.
I got more involved in 2008. Through a project with Visit Emporia, our CVB, they were looking for ways to grow events in the community and even start new events.
Christy came in and said, hey, I want to make this a party. I want people to be celebrated.
I was thinking Tour de France of gravel. That's what my goal was.
I think Christy understood how important the event could be for the Emporia community.
She talked to us about the race, which was Dirty Kansas at the time. There's, I think, 34 riders, and they usually leave from a hotel parking lot and come back to a hotel parking lot. Wouldn't it be super cool if we could have like a finish line festival in downtown Emporia? And we're like, well, sure, you know, how crazy could that be? It's just a little bike race.
We went to the city and we got some mixed messaging, some, are you crazy? 30 people riding a bike 30 miles an hour down the middle of a crowd. Is that something that we should be doing? And we said, well, we're gonna try it.
I remember someone coming in and saying, well, we need to have something to like celebrate the riders. We had these little tiny cowbells that had been used for some silly event. And so we're like, well, we've got these cowbells, maybe we could pass those out and people could ring them as riders came through the makeshift chute with traffic cones, and thus like the cowbell also became kind of part of the race, and now we see that kind of as an iconic symbol of Unbound.
We had a lot of empty storefronts on Commercial Street, and when we moved it downtown, the Granada Theater had just recently been restored. I wanted to figure out a way to really showcase that theater, but we didn't really have any restaurants downtown at the time. So we actually recruited the farmers market here to host pasta feeds across the street from the Granada Theater in the two churches so that we could have food for the riders downtown.
They shut down the road and they had 300 people starting, and it was just like, okay, this is really going somewhere.
My cousin in Phoenix, who is a marathon runner, had called me and said, so cousin, what's this 200-mile bike race in your backyard and you don't tell me about it, because that's something I would like to do. I'm going to ride DK and you're riding with me. I had no idea what I was getting into.
20 years ago, Emporia was not a cycling town. There were a dozen of us that rode bikes. Now there are hundreds. Of the 4,000 people lining up to take on Unbound, 10% of them come from within a 20-mile radius of Emporia, Kansas. It has completely transformed the identity of who we are right here in Emporia.
Every year, the momentum just built and built and built, and the community just kept getting on board. Unbound went from, those 34 cyclists to now it's like a whole movement that's celebrated by the community.
The race is not just about the race, but it's about this place. Several years ago, I was vacationing with my family in Florida, and my son and I popped into a local bike shop. The kid behind the counter could clearly see that we weren't from around there, and he's like, where are you guys from? And I said, oh, we're from Kansas. He said, my sister lives in Kansas. I said, oh, cool. Where does she live? And he said, I don't know where she lives in Kansas, but it's near where they have that race, that DK Unbound race. She lives somewhere near there. Have you ever heard of that race? And I turned to my son and I was like, yeah, I've heard of that race. And in that moment, it crystallized to me that people identify who they are, not only on the bike, but off the bike and where this place exists in the cosmos. And for some kid in Florida who's never been to Kansas, doesn't know where his sister lives, he knows it's near Unbound. I think that's pretty powerful.
Emporia as a town, when I first came here, was very charming. What's made the event so charming is that Emporia is what it is, and it's just been this little small town that's so welcoming, and the people are the best. That's kind of the heart and soul of this event, too.
Emporia is really a community that is a very big, small town.
I think of Emporia as an entrepreneurship type of town. We're not really big, but we're pretty mighty.
This race probably couldn't have happened in the exact way anywhere else.
The Flint Hills that we get to ride through and around really make something different and unique that most people don't get to experience.
When I first came to Emporia, I was really struck by like Midwestern hospitality. I was welcomed in like a warm embrace here.
For me now, it's become a place of second family. I've got a lot of people I've known and met over the years and stayed in touch with. It's something I think the whole gravel community is pretty aware of. It's just incredibly welcoming.
For people to travel here and think of Emporia as like a home, that comes through because it's how people feel about the event. They're proud that we are the home of Unbound Gravel.
It's not just a race that happens in our town, it's our opportunity to showcase our town and show that we're proud of it.
We got 10,000 people come to town saying the Flint Hills are spectacular. As a local, you take all that for granted. It brought back community pride, reawakened that spirit, I think.
We had the lightning in a bottle that took it and made it a movement. That's why I think you can say that Emporia invented gravel, because we took all of those things and we got it right.
There was just like that paradigm shift. Economics like totally changed.
It was a town hard on its luck a decade ago, and you go into downtown Emporia now and it's quite frankly thriving.
I think our sales for Dirty Cans event were 60 sales. Just this past year, it was well over 900. Things like Unbound Gravel helped make that happen.
We're looking at a $25 million economic impact for this year. That's huge for a town like Emporia.
I'm just excited to see this event continue on the growth trajectory that it's on, because it's good for everyone. It's good for the bike industry, it's good for the professional racers, it's good for this town, it's good for this community. Really feel lucky that I said yes in 2013 to come out here and try something new and challenging. I had a decent time out in the Flint Hills my first year, and I was like, I think I could go back and maybe do even better. 2014 had other ideas. I didn't come anywhere close. That lit a fire for me for 2015 to be my best physical self, to hopefully set me up to get on the podium.
My first year here was 2015. At the least, all I wanted to do was finish 200 miles and see if I could do that. And then 2015 went the way it did.
So 2015, considered by many to be the true mud year.
That year, the rain came in at a very late hour. I think it was 2 or 3 in the morning.
It was a complete downpour during the night, and we're like, great, well, it is what it is the next day. That was the beauty of that at the time, was that none of us knew what we were doing. Whatever was thrown our way, we sort of just rolled with the punches.
As we rode out of town, there's Road D Hill, which is the first real climb on most of the southern courses for Unbound. And you go over the top of Road D and you descend basically into 5 miles of walking through pancake, peanut butter mud.
I'll never forget the image. It's like seared into my mind of all of these people who were ahead of me just slowly coming to a small halt.
People's bikes were getting their derailleurs ripped off left and right. It felt like trench warfare, quite honestly. And it quickly became a test of survival more than it was athleticism.
It just blew the field apart, and that's where things got really interesting that year. I decided to get off and start running along the edges in the tall grass that was wet, helps clean your bike, clean your feet.
The guys who were behind me told me later that from their perspective it was hilarious because I was on a cross bike and they just saw me like ride through all of these people that were stopped, pulled over, because I still had clearance. I could ride a little bit further.
Part of the challenge that day was figuring out where you could ride, where you needed to run, where you needed to soft pedal. Patience was like a huge factor, I think.
There were just a series of good equipment choices and skills that led me pretty far that day. Also, just the naivete of like not knowing what to expect and just doing whatever.
I think I finished 6th, maybe 7th that year. I have long said that when conditions are like that, it's probably better for me personally, because smart people quit and dumb people keep going. So I count myself as a dumb person, and I just kept going. It allows you to reframe the expectation and slow down, quite honestly. You get off, you walk your bike for a while, there's nothing else you can do. The experience is the same and probably even more pronounced when you roll down Commercial Street after having gone through an epic like that.
I Won in 2015 and 2016, both times solo. Unbound means a lot to me personally because it really shaped some formative years for me. 2015, I was 26 years old. The day before that race, they did the athlete meeting right on the stage. They asked Rebecca Rush to come up. She had won 3 years previously. One of the things she said at the end was, you know, she's this slow diesel kind of racer where she's just gonna go this one solid pace forever. I just kept thinking that the whole day because when I got the lead, I was first for the whole rest of the race. I was just thinking that Rebecca was gonna come up on me at some point. That was something different about that year.
I'm really glad to be back. I actually feel pretty proud just for finishing. I mean, I think anyone who gets across this finish line today is burly.
My feet were like these big like snowshoes of mud and grass, and you're just clomping along and there's no way you can clip back into your pedals because there's so much mud. You're questioning why you're doing this. I also had some extra motivation that day because my wife, who's a cancer survivor, had flown out and surprised me. She was 4 years clear at that point of stage 4 cancer. So like quitting wasn't really an option. I was gonna stumble my way to the finish. I came into the last aid station with second place, but there was a 20-minute gap between me and the kid who was off the front. I figured, you know, top step was out of the question, but second place was a win for me. My wife was in Cottonwood Falls, ran out of town with me yelling at me, and super motivational. It lit my fire, caught the kid with like 2 miles to go. It's the most impactful finish line of my 30-year cycling career, to have my wife there to win this massive gravel event in those conditions in a sprint finish with a kid almost like 20 years my junior. That's the best finish line I've ever crossed, really.
2015 and 2016, it was just like this quiet, check it off, yeah, I won it twice, this is great. But over the years, that win mattered more for a lot more people. The same way Dan Hughes talks about his wins, like it was the early days, like of course I was gonna win it in the beginning. A lot of times we'll not give ourselves the credit maybe that was due at the time. For me, I think it was also a learning process about being proud of the things that I've done and sort of growing with this event and see it grow, and also like showing me that it mattered too and that I can be proud of it.
After 2015, when I won, 2016 was sort of the first year we had like a World Tour pro show up, Ted King. That was the tectonic shift, in my opinion, of like horsepower.
Ted King was the first kind of World Tour top road pro who kind of came in onto the scene.
It was like, oh, okay, being at the front of this event is probably not in the cards for me too much longer.
I mean, yeah, it was sort of a seismic shift, 2016 moving forward. I was at an event, and Rebecca Rush, someone who definitely has a name in this event, she was like the older sister. Hey, Rody, you got to come over do this event in Kansas, and you know, the rest is history. I knew I was capable of riding 200 miles. I'd done that before. I'd never done it as a race. So there we are going on to the first bit of dirt. 2 miles in, I watched people, their race was over immediately, and I was right next to Yuri at the time, and I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Like, what a trip.
I do want to share a Ted King story. I needed to use the restroom, which you usually were allowed to do, but this front group of like 9 of us, no one was stopping. So we're rolling out of the aid station, and I look at Ted, I'm like, man, I could really use a nature break. And Ted, being Ted, like sat up and told the whole group, he was like, hey, we need to stop.
So I think I basically was like, hey, anyone else need to pee? And a unanimous yes came out from the audience, and so we all pulled over, took a whiz.
I always have appreciated him for like being honorable and saying, hey, we're all gonna stop right now.
That was the chill vibe that you can't really say exists anymore.
He proceeded to drop all of us.
Around halfway through the race with 100 miles to go, I set out on a solo mission and crept to the finish line by the end.
2016 champion.
There is an inevitability too. Once you put a number on your bike, you're gonna wanna go faster. You see the finishing times and the average speeds, and of course it's gonna happen.
Everyone says the prestige of the race changed in the next few years or so, but really, like, it changed when Rebecca showed up too. She brought so much prestige to the race and, quite frankly, a lot more eyeballs too. People talked about, if Rebecca's doing it, it's gotta be something that's cool to do. Christy was always championing having more women do this race and showing that it's a really good challenge for women.
I wanted more women to feel like they could join me in riding these epic events.
This is a 9-up sprint.
If you give women the chance to shine and the chance to do it, they will rise up and show you that they can.
We watched a discipline basically start, evolve.
The sport has absolutely professionalized. We're going to see, I think, more and more pros and more team structures as well. That's not a bad thing, it's just change. It's just different.
I raced Unbound for the first time in 2019. Had absolutely no idea what we were doing and showed up, and yeah, we gave it a red hot crack, but like looking back between, now and then, it's like the race has exploded.
I love seeing the evolution of this sport, the professionalization of this sport. What Lifetime is doing now with the investment in the Grand Prix.
2021 was, I would say, where the inflection point of kind of international talent and world tour riders coming into it really started to steepen. A result at Unbound means a lot because it's a race that people around the world have heard of.
It's immensely gratifying to see world-class athletes turn to gravel as a discipline and find a way for them to make it fiscally possible.
"2018 was a turning point for the event. Lifetime had come in and acquired the event from Jim, Leland, and Christy, and we spent a lot of time kind of absorbing and understanding their vision. They came in and had built this incredible event that was on the global map already, but gravel cycling was still developing.
Lifetime coming on board with us was a big game changer. Lifetime definitely believes in building community and healthy way of life, and I think Unbound dovetails so nicely with that.
When we came into the fold, it allowed that team the opportunity to build an expo that took over downtown, to bring in 200 plus brands, to work towards a live broadcast. But we've always wanted to really steward the mission and the vision of creating a cycling hub in Emporia. We have the 200 men and women elite start, but we also have a 350-mile distance, a 100-mile distance, a 50 juniors race, a 50-mile race, and a 25. So there's so many other journeys that are happening here, and they're inspired by the elites. And whether the elites know it or not, they were actually inspired by the everyday cyclist, because that's really what built this event.
At some point, Lifetime understood that this was an event that was growing, and with multiple distances, there were plenty of opportunities for riders of all stripes to test themselves on the Flint Hills of Kansas. So that's where it's really kind of evolved to at this point, to where now you have 5,000 riders coming from all over the world to what I would argue is the premier gravel event on the planet.
This community of 20,000 residents here in Emporia, and then we drive in an additional 20,000 event participants with their friends and family and vendors and media, and this little town in central Kansas becomes a booming metropolis of people from around the world.
People are doing training camps out here ahead of the event to scout the roads. And it truly is, in my opinion, like the Super Bowl of gravel events.
I would love to see the legacy being the story that anything's possible with a lot of hard work. Whether it be believing great things can happen in your downtown community, or riding 200 miles in dusty, dirty gravel. And what a great story they made coming together.
There have been 11, 12 times I've come in and seen the lights of town and known that I was close. It's an emotional sort of moment. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to capture when I'm taking pictures of people, is the emotion.
Unbound is a metaphor for how you not only approach the race, but how you approach life. My life hasn't been all tailwinds and downhills. There are moments during the race and moments during your life where things are going great. It's perfect gravel and you are flying. And then there are moments where it's headwinds and peanut butter mud and your fifth flat of the day and life just sucks. I think the takeaway is that neither one of those things lasts forever. If you can remember to enjoy the tailwinds and then also understand that the muddy, crappy days don't last forever either, I think that's hugely significant for not only bike racing, but how we live.
I'm always looking for the moment, right? The moment where they were either at their peak elation or they're the depths of their despair, or they're falling into the arms of their loved one at the finish. Just everybody's happy that they're home and home safe. So my hope is that it transports them back to that moment that was pivotal for them as they were getting it done.
For me, that's the lure of gravel. You're untested against it, but at the other end, you're going to be transformed.
At the heart of what it is really just a challenge in a beautiful place with a bunch of great humans who want to challenge themselves and be better people and do it in a like-minded community.
There's just like this electricity in the air. You hear the click-clacking of the shoes on the sidewalk with the clips, and there's people everywhere, and the vibe of the town just totally shifts.
The sun is coming up, everyone cheering for miles and miles as they start this journey. The joy seeing people who've been on their bike for hours for the first time doing the race. It's just a real privilege to have a front seat to that every year.
People understand now when those guys are coming with people cheering and mud all over their face, just what they've been through. That's pretty neat.
I think we need things that are just beyond our reach that we can strive for, and Unbound is certainly one of those things.
Humans are capable of more than we give ourselves credit for. When you accomplish something like Unbound, whether it's the 50, the 100, the 200, whatever distance, that's gonna touch other aspects of your life. Those things build over time. These ripples that we can continue to put out into our life, they branch out and hit others, and you don't know how it's gonna affect them.
I can't tell you how many people have come to this sport and have gotten up on January 1 and thought, I'm going to go do that Unbound race this year, and it's changed them. I think the fast people are always fast, but it's the transformative nature of the normal people that is where I would plant my flag.
Skies we had before you sold us this big